So thanks again for dropping by the channel. If you like the content, if you're new to the channel, please hit subscribe, share the video if you thought it was useful. Now let's get into this. Now I'm going to try and keep this video short and sweet because it is very late here and I'm really tired. I want to go sleep. Joyce's manager Sam Jones and I think Frank Warren as well have alluded to the fact that they are definitely open to be facing Daniel Dubois at some stage this year. I can definitely see both fighters having an interim fight in the meantime. I know Joyce, I think would have been next week, he would have been set to take on Marco Huck for the European title. That wasn't necessarily, I didn't view it as a competitive fight, but Joyce had something to gain from it, a European title, which is nothing to be, sniffed at, laughed at. Joyce and European title, it's a very good achievement. So obviously he doesn't get that. We don't know if he's going to fight someone else for the vacant title, what they're going to do with it, or whether, Marco Huck, they're going to reschedule it. Who knows? At the end of the day, Marco Huck, best days are well past him. He was a career cruiserweight, so I wasn't necessarily looking forward to the fight, but it would have been boxing to watch and would have seen Joyce pick up a title. Whereas Dubois, we think he's on a show in the O2 in April against who we don't know. I've heard names mentioned, Otto Wallen's name getting mentioned by a few people. Decent fight, wouldn't mind seeing it personally. If they can get Otto Wallen in, I wouldn't be at all against that. I think it's a decent name for Daniel Dubois, given the fact that he's riding high after his performance against Tyson Fury. And obviously if Dubois could stop Wallen, big statement, decent statement. But ultimately I think more than likely in the summer we're more likely going to see Joyce versus Daniel Dubois. I think it's going to happen. Obviously Joyce, if he picks up a European title, I think it'll definitely happen because that's a progression that Frank Warren likes to have with his fighters, British, Commonwealth, European. With Joyce, would he fight Daniel Dubois for just a British title on his own? He's already been Commonwealth champion, going from European down to British. Would he be up for it? As he's alluded to several times, the money is right, he would be. So it'll be interesting to see what kind of purses get floated around. But I'd love to see Daniel Dubois versus Joyce. Me, if I had to pick a winner, based on what I've seen so far from the two guys, even though Joyce has fought the better of opposition, which he has, definitely, Brian Jennings, nothing to be sniffed at, made his debut against Ian Lewison, decent opponent, took care of Len Roy Thomas, Commonwealth title, stuff like that. Joyce has fought the better opposition. Having said that, I would still pick Daniel Dubois to beat Joyce. Don't know if he'd stop him, because Joyce, we know, very good chin, very physically strong. I don't know if Dubois would stop Joyce necessarily. I think Dubois has underrated boxing skills, seems to have very good stamina, decent stamina in the gas tank, can definitely punch. I don't know if I pick Dubois to win that fight by knockout, but I definitely would be picking Dubois to win that fight. I see it as 60-40 in Dubois' favour, personally, if that fight was to be made. Anytime recent, we need to obviously see how Joyce looks. A lot of people weren't impressed with how he looked against Brian Jennings. I wasn't myself. Whereas Dubois has been, looking like the wrecking ball, fighting, poor opposition, it has to be said. Fujimoto, very poor. Not Zalane, Ebenezer Tete, horrific. But the Nathan Gorman win was very good, and he done that decisively. So, yeah, it'd be interesting to see what happens if this fight gets made. I'd like to see it. The question is, though, and I alluded to this in my Dubois video that I done last week. You beat Joyce. Who else is there in Queensbury for him to fight? Tyson Fury? No, that's not going to happen. So, the heavyweight list that Frank Warren has is not long. It's not a big category. So, if the fight happens and Dubois comes out on top, where does he go from there? That's my question. World Honours, maybe, but is he 100% ready? Who knows? Let me know what you think down below. Hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know who you think will win that fight if it gets made. Dubois, Joyce. Let me know what you think down below. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave a like, subscribe of course if you're new. And as always, I will talk to you after.
Alright.